Hi everyone. So it's been a while since I've done a video on camera. I know that lately the channel has taken a bit of a shift in direction lately. I've been doing less video reviews and actually more live streams of me gaming. I still am going to be gaming for a while because I've actually been having a lot of fun doing these live streams. I just really like them. I like being able to interact with friends. I like being able to play certain games, both stuff I've never played before and stuff I have, and showing them off. Um, I like the interaction. I like the entertainment. It's something that's going to be a mainstay for this channel to come. So I just want to put that out there. But as for why I haven't been doing many video reviews lately, uh, I've been kind of busy. And admittedly, I've been, like lately, I really haven't had full blown motivation to do one. Not because I've been depressed or sad, or it's just partly because I'm busy and because I'm having fun doing other stuff. But I want to see if I can actually get back to doing video reviews again because it seems like new movies are coming out on an actual basis that are actually appealing, and I want to get back to doing that. This is also going to be a video where I'm going to talk about a new film that I just saw partially last night, finished it this morning, and I also want to show off some neat stuff I've got. So this is like partial doing a review, partial channel update, so yada yada yada. First things first, the film portion of this video. So the film I recently watched, chunk of last night, rest this morning, was the action thriller Without Remorse, based off of the Tom Clancy novel. The character John Kelly, who would later become John. What's his name? They said what his new name was at the end of the movie, but whatever. Um, based off a series, based on Tom Clancy novel, starring Michael B. Jordan, Sophie Turner Smith, I think her name is. Let's see, who are the other two? Guy Pearce, Jamie Bell, and directed by Stefano Samilia. I was interested in this film for a couple of reasons, because of not only who was directing in the source material, but also the writer, Taylor Sheridan. Now, for those of you who don't know, Taylor Sheridan is the same guy who's written scripts for the following films: Sicario, Hell or High Water, Wind River, and the Sicario sequel, Dave the Soldado. And to hear him reunite with the guy who directed Sicario 2, Samilia, to make an adaptation of a Tom Clancy story with lead actor Michael B. Jordan, who's been in such critically acclaimed works such as Chronicle, Black Panther, the Creed movies. It's hard not to just immediately want to latch onto that and go watch it. I know I was like, I'm fully on. Things looking a little crooked. There we go. That's better. I was immediately on board with it, and I was a little disappointed to hear that it was going to go to Amazon streaming last year. Like, damn it, I was hoping to see that in theaters. But after watching the actual movie, I actually kind of have to agree. Perhaps it was the smartest idea for it to go to streaming. Now, I don't want to say this is a bad movie, because it isn't. It's entertaining. It is exactly what you think it is. Basically the plot synopsis is of, Michael B. Jordan plays this Navy SEAL named John Kelly, and him and some of his guys, they're off doing, special ops out in the Middle East and other countries. And during an op, they discover that a target that they were rescuing wasn't being held by the local insurgency, but instead was actually being held by Russian military. And soon Kelly ends up finding him and some of his fellow operators being embroiled in a conspiracy to potentially start World War III between us and the Russians. Typical stuff, Tom Clancy, yada yada yada. Apparently, the operation in the original book was based off of in Vietnam, so they moved it to it being in the Middle East, specifically Aleppo. And as a result of the diabolical conspiracy going around, Kelly has to basically shoot, punch, interrogate, torture, and do whatever the hell he can to get to the bottom of it, especially the fact that his wife and fellow team members get caught in the crossfire. I want to start with some of the positives here. Well, actually, I want to start with the positives here. For one thing, I like 90s action flicks. I really do. They're fun. Stuff like Die Hard or Broken Arrow or Face Off, like any of those kind of movies, they were a byproduct of a specific period in time when it just kind of felt like action movies were allowed to do kind of whatever the hell they want. These days, it's a little more toned down, though it kind of feels like the spirit of the 90s is, and to a lesser extent the 80s, is like slowly coming back in certain titles, like I would say maybe like the John Wick movies. And this definitely has like that kind of like great macho 90s cheese to it, from the premise to Michael B. Jordan's character and his performance. So it's hard not to get caught up in that. And like the movie, one of the things I actually really appreciate about the movie is that it wastes absolutely no time in establishing its story, its characters, its action bits. Like the movie runs under 2 hours and it feels like it. It always constantly keeps going from set piece to set piece, action bit, action bit. It never feels like it's trying to top itself, but at the same time, it always kind of feels like, okay, that was a great sequence. Let's see if we can do an even better one afterwards. Like, one of the biggest ones that you can actually see in the trailer, and that one is a really good one, is one when he discovers one of the Russian operatives who wound up killing his wife, tracks him down, and, like, he does some tricky shit at first. Like, he makes it seem like one of the SUVs that was, like, guarding the guy had a gun pointed at him, and he was able to get him stopped for traffic to kind of throw him off. And then he ends up cornering the guy. He crashes his vehicle, takes a bucket of gasoline, pours it on the car, lights it on fire, and then goes in to interrogate the guy, even as everything's burning up around them, clearly not giving a fuck, and popping, a couple of rounds in the guy just to get him to talk. It works, and it just, like, the way it, like, it just flows so effortlessly. That leads me to another scene when it's like immediately afterwards, Kelly gets arrested and thrown in a prison that's more suited to the Russian mob than military prison, which then leads to a sequence where he ends up taking on a bunch of prison guards and how he kind of like makes it a bit easier for himself and harder for them is that he takes his prison shirt, stuffs it in the sink in his prison cell, keeps the water going, slathers him up in water to make himself slippery and to make the ground, like hard for them to move around in. The movie has genuinely inventive action scenes like that, and they're well cut, they're well shot, they're to the point. I would almost kind of argue that this is maybe an example of Taylor Sheridan kind of squeezing through because he did co-write this. Something that's kind of a signature style about his films is that even when there are complicated elements in them, he keeps things lean and simple. I think that's even something he's even said that, something he does not like, though I kind of feel like all writers kind of fall into this. He doesn't like exposition. He just wants things to go from A to B to C to D. There is exposition in his movies, but they're kind of in the stuff that he writes, but it's kind of brief and functional and to the point. And I like that. I really do. Another thing that I also have to give this movie major points for is Michael B. Jordan himself. I have been impressed with him and other stuff here, and he, like, I still need to see his more critically acclaimed works like Fruitvale Station and the Creed movies. Like, I was always really impressed with him, what I saw in Chronicle and Black Panther, and here, wow, he fully adapts to the role of being the action hero. Like, god damn, from his physique to the way he moves, to the physicality he shows off in the action sequences. He's terrific in this. I would kill to see him in another movie like this. Maybe not specifically with this character, but like another kind of like, balls to the wall violent action movie. Like, hell, get him a role in like one of the future, like in John Wick 4 or something. He'd be perfect for something like that, or to have his own lead franchise. And another thing I mentioned about how lean the movie is, it's also fast moving. I really wasn't bored with it at all for a single second. The rest of the cast is also good. You've got I listed off all the other principal players. They're all entertaining. Yet for some reason, I just couldn't gravitate this one in comparison to Sheridan's other works. The other four films Sheridan has written, they've always clicked with me in some way, shape, or form, and they always get better for me on repeat viewings. They always have a pull about them that makes me want to go back to them. And I have to say, with this one, I just didn't get that pull. I don't know if it's, and it can't be the source material because Tom Clancy stuff's awesome as far as I'm concerned. It's always interesting. But this just kind of felt a little rote and typical, and it ends almost too quickly. I've never had that issue with Sheridan's other works, but this is the first time I kind of feel like this needed to be longer. I almost wish this was over 2 hours. Not to mention, and I can't believe this is going on again, I don't like this at all, but once again, they do one of those little setups for a sequel that'll lead to some kind of extended universe, and blah, blah, blah. I'm getting sick of that crap. Like, we already tried doing it when people were obsessed with the Marvel movies. I don't care about that crap anymore. I mean, I enjoyed, something like Godzilla vs. Kong, and I was happy to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League not too long ago. Those were both really good movies. Hell, I almost kind of borderline loved Godzilla vs. Kong. But I really hope the trend of trying to set up a universe kind of sputters out towards the end of this. At the same time, though, I'm almost a little surprised that Paramount didn't try and jump and do this sooner. Paramount, Amazon, and all that stuff, because it's like, a lot of Tom Clancy's material is interconnected. Even Ubisoft, with how they've had control of the Tom Clancy license, they've had, like, their own games kind of bleed into each other. Ignore that. That's just the dog. If you can hear him, which you probably can. He always loud. He's a loud boy. But with Tom Clancy, like, his works can bleed into each other, and the Ubisoft games have done that. In Ghost Recon Wildlands, I think that's what it was called. Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell showed up in a DLC, and it was also kind of a weird little, in that same modicum, it was also a weird tribute to Metal Gear Solid, because of the crappy things that happen with Konami and shit. Ugh. But, like, I almost kind of feel like, because, like, like, it's fine with the books and it's fine with the games, but for some reason I'm just not feeling it with the movies. I just kind of wish this was like, come on, cut to the chase. Just get to the, actually good bits. Don't give us all this setup and crap. And it's so weird watching this, like, as far as, like, like, you want a good military action thriller thing. And in that same time, I've actually been kind of bouncing between two different games that I've recently been playing. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance and one of the Call of Duty games, Advanced Warfare. And playing those, I just couldn't help but think to myself, this scratches that itch I have for military fiction better than this does. And this is a movie with A-list stars and a solid director. It's weird that it's a movie that I can genuinely say nice things about. But it's also nothing that made me jump up and think, like, wow, that was terrific. Wow, that was awesome. To me, that was just like, that was functional. Entertaining enough. Something I'd put on for background noise, really. I wished... And you can always say, well, what more do you want? That's okay. And that can be okay, but, sometimes I want an action movie to really grip me. That's what I thought, the director's previous film, Sicario 2, did really well. It managed to be an action film, but it also really sunk its teeth into me. I remember just watching that in the cinema and just being so absorbed by it, by its cruelty and its brutality and how dark it was. This is also cruel and violent, but to me it wasn't as gripping as that one was. And that had the same creative team, so... So yeah, without remorse, it's a solid enough action movie. It's available free to stream on Amazon Prime if you want to give it a shot. They probably have it all plastered all over the moment you go to the Amazon page or on your Prime app or whatever. It's fine. It's functional. It's a decent way to kill an evening or an afternoon, but you're not probably going to remember it in a good couple of, in good out like the next day or something. It's already kind of slipping through my brain, like in all the finer details and such. But hey, granted the fact that 90s nostalgia is coming, I've noticed it. I've been hearing a lot of old 90s songs on the radio, and there have been revitalizations of classic 90s properties. If one thing that does come from the 90s that comes here, and that's 90s style action movies, I can roll with that because that was like a specific period of action movie. That was like a specific period of action movies that was led to a lot of interesting, even sometimes iconic and great movies. Stuff like Air Force One, Face Off, The Rock, etc., etc. And we need like good mid-budget action movies. I'm perfectly fine with those. They're good. They're just, they're consumable. They're entertaining. Mid-budget movies need to come back, man. Too many goddamn thunderous, MCU related spectacles and shit. It's just like, it's too much of a good thing. So yeah, if you want to check out Without Remorse, it's a decent enough recommendation. But if you want something that's a little bit more punchier in this kind of vein, maybe you might like something like Extraction a little bit more. That was on Netflix. That came out last year. That had Chris Hemsworth. That was not bad. I would actually suggest you go back and look a little bit further at, like, as I mentioned, Sicario 2 or Den of Thieves with Gerard Butler if you want like a good macho mid-budget action movie. Those, I think, did the job better than this. So yeah, that's my feelings on Without Remorse. That being said, I'm always going to go to bat for Taylor Sheridan because I think that dude is like the best screenwriter in Hollywood right now, and he's got another film coming out in a couple of weeks, Those Who Wish Me Dead, with Angelina Jolie. Moment Showtime show up for that one, I am going straight to that one because I always look forward to what he does. And this one, he's directing, so him writing and directing, sure, I'm right on board for that one. So, as you can tell, new environment, moved into this room, personal stuff. I'm still wearing this shirt. It's fun. Just for the record, my computer is on, but I've got it hooked up to the TV that's in here. I don't have it hooked up to my monitor. I just wanted to experiment with that on TV for a little bit. Plus, also, it was the only way I wanted to watch Without Remorse, because my Blu-ray player does not have an Amazon Prime app. It used to, but now it doesn't. So, I also wanted to show off some neat little goodies I got recently. Barbara has been working at Walmart, and she's been getting me some neat little doodads and such. One of the first things she got me, this actually wasn't from Walmart, but this was actually from the dollar store. Ta-da! Yeah, a cute little frame kind of thing. Actually, no, wait. Screw it. Chair's in the way. I'll deal with it another time. But yeah, this is a cute little thing. I've been using it actually for my live stream, just kind of put around my door, but I found something else that might be a little bit better. Still, this is a cute little thing. I do intend on using more of this. It'll definitely be for future videos. But yeah, there's this thing. She suggested I could have it in my videos, and I will. I'm featuring it right now, but I'm also going to use it as a sort of prop to point out, hey, I'm recording, so don't come in here. It's very cute. I like it. And I also bought some movies recently. They were a bit a month apart. They were both also on sale. One I just got a few days ago, and one that I got from nearly 2 months ago. First film I got nearly 2 months ago. This is a Criterion disc. Breaking the Waves by Lars von Trier. I love Lars von Trier movies. I think he's a fascinating artist. I think he's a wonderful weirdo. He's kind of a sick fuck, too. This is largely considered to be one of his great masterpieces. I wouldn't argue against it. It's a really good movie. Tragic story of martyrdom and love. A naive young Scottish woman named Bess falls in love with this guy who works at an oil tanker, but he gets into an injury, after she prays to God to bring him back. And what happens is that it kind of leads to this horrifying spiral of just like her performing this form of martyrdom to please her husband. She goes out and has sex with other men and comes back to relay the experiences to him, and it keeps on getting her in increasingly violent situations. Excellent film, really devastating. Also, I would say this is probably one of the few Lars von Trier movies I can say that hope is actually prevalent. Yes, even a man as cynical and nihilistic as he is, there can be hope. The other movie I bought, this was actually one I got just a couple of days ago, and I watched it for the first time last year. My only regret is that I wish I saw this in the cinema. The Hidden Life by Terrence Malick. A friend of mine kind of gave me some shit for going with the regular Blu-ray of this, saying, why don't you wait out for a Criterion or something, because Terrence Malick movies get Criterion releases. I'm sorry, I just don't see that happening with this movie, because Disney has its claws in 20th Century Fox and Fox Searchlight and all those related entities, so I might as well just get a regular Blu-ray of it right now. And hey, it looks and sounds exquisite. The film is about Franz Jagastata, who was just like a simple farmer, Austrian farmer, who refused to fight for the Nazis in World War II. He stood his ground and was like, no, I'm not going to pledge myself to the Fuhrer. I love my country, but I am not doing this. And as a result of his actions, he was punished. It's a very deeply felt and religious film. It was something that I saw for the first time last year, and I was just like, oh my god, this is utterly, absolutely beautiful, and so well acted, and so beautifully composed. I always think Terrence Malick's films, he's a guy who's very much capable of making a movie that has transcendent visuals, deeply felt emotions, beautiful music. But my beef with him is that he does not know how to pace a film. He does not. I'm sorry. So I can say without a doubt that this is actually the first movie that I've seen by Terrence Malick where I'm like, oh my god, it's not slow as shit. There's actual pace and flow to this. There is structure. And the fact that it's also nearly 3 hours is really impressive. Like, the fact that it's nearly 3 hours and I don't feel the runtime of this at all. Had I seen it before I finalized my 2019 list, this would have been really high up there. It's that good. Right now it's going on Amazon for like $15. Given the kind of steep prices Disney discs are, and now via that extension 20th Century Fox discs are, and it took this a goddamn year to finally go on sale, I'd say it's worth it. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Terrence Malick, I think maybe you should give this a rent first or check it out on HBO or something before you give it a full shot, because it's like his style is inaccessible and divisive. You'll either love his free-flowing poetry or find it to be a bunch of whispery, pretentious garbage. I can never bring myself to say that his work is whispery, pretentious garbage, but far from it, but I can also say, man, dude, you can really test my patience sometime, but not with this one. So, future things. I've got a live stream tonight. I'm still doing those. I'm going to be doing those. I've got a full chart mapped out of titles I'm going to be doing in the future. I'm also thinking of doing live streams of watching films with friends and acquaintances on Discord. For people I know on Twitter or any other related social media site, there's several I go on to. I was thinking of holding private little movie streams for friends. I already have a selection of titles picked out for the first poll that I'd let people pick from. If you want to join these live streams, keep in mind, even though I do have Discord, it's also part of, I don't think Discord is still doing that whole where you can stream up to 50 people. I think it's gone back to I think it's 10 or something. So the slots are limited. Come get your tickets early, folks. But I'm going to be doing that in the future. I'm going to set up a poll. I'm really excited about doing that. It's almost kind of harkens back to when I would used to hold movie parties in person. I do still want to do those with my friends, because those were great times. Anyway, that's about it for my video today. I'm going to try and get back into the rhythm of doing videos in person. Kind of feel like perhaps maybe I've been doing a little too much gaming and shit. I'm going to keep on doing it. Well, anyway, I hope all of you have a good day, and see you around.